This is where the fun begins.
General Kenobi.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 45 of Jedi Knights, the official Star Wars podcast of JoyClicks. I'm your host, Christian Buckley, joined by my Chewbacca, Mike Connors.
I was like this close to doing my impression of Chewie, but I didn't do it. So you're welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about Star Wars this week. Doesn't seem like there's much Star Wars to talk about, but every single week that I do this, it's the highlight of it.
Oh, for sure. I always look forward to it. And there is a significant story to talk about as far as news goes this week. But we will get to that. We're doing something a little different this week. We're recording in a different way, so there might be some technical slowdown with the exit, but just remember that. But if you want to help improve the show or get involved with submitting questions and conversation topics to a new segment we're calling Wills of the Force, spelt the fun way, go to patreon.com/joyclicks, and at the $2 tier, you can submit questions and stuff. And we always love seeing the YouTube comments. You know, Jack, dedicated listener, always giving his thoughts on the comments of whatever the topic is for the week. But we're going to dive into some news about a new holiday special, a small update about Alphabet Squadron. Then we're going to talk some Rebels, do a little update on our watch along, and then we're going to hash out what we want to see out of the sequels to the sequels. That is a episode 10, 11, 12 trilogy. But before we get to any of that today, it's time for From the Jedi Archives. Mike, why don't you lead us off this week?
So I chose somebody who's near and dear to my heart. At first I was like, I want to get somebody from the Phantom Menace, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so I thought Watto. I was like, cool, Watto would be good. I was like, nah, too basic. Also, I got Watto right here.
That is a gigantic Watto. For listeners, it is
Wait,
the
can you see
size... Oh, I can see it. For listeners, it is the size of, like, one of the larger bottles of Coke that you'll get at a gas station. Like,
yeah, it's like a Coke.
Yeah, that is the size of a glass Coke bottle.
Anyways, so I was like, well, Watto's a little too basic. So I thought of somebody else who's, also kind of basic, but less so.
Mm-hmm.
Sebulba.
Okay.
So I chose Sebulba. He was a male Dug who hailed from the planet of Malastare. He was a vicious pod racer pilot who flew a massive orange pod racer with a split X configuration. He would often bump and smash his way through the competition. He did some illegal stuff. And yeah, that's basically it. Classic character. We all know him and love him from Phantom Menace. Especially when he gets blown up and he says poodoo.
Yeah. A good old-fashioned rivalry with one Jar Jar Binks as well.
Yeah, exactly.
How
did he steal his, it was like some frog, right?
Yeah, it was I think it was like some squid frog delicacy. There's not many oceans on Tatooine, so it was probably very expensive.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, but Watto, Sebulba, definitely villain energy for sure. Oh
yeah, big time.
Huge villain energy, and he's just so evil. I kind of admire it.
Yeah, he's got some ambition. A Sith would respect it. Well, for my poll, I didn't pull a character this week, but I did pull something that I felt was a little thematically appropriate. Life Day.
Life Day?
Yes.
All right.
Life Day was a holiday notably observed by the Wookiees of the forested planet Kashyyyk. Celebrations involved feasts and journeys to the Tree of Life. The place of worship, once again, was the Tree of Life traditionally, but eventually it was observed throughout the galaxy. And the significance of Life Day is it is the celebration of family, joy, and harmony, values and tenets, Mike, of the Wookiee culture, if you were unaware.
That's great. I love that concept.
Yeah. And of course we've seen it canonized for the first time officially in the new canon with Mandalorian. It was mentioned in Life Day. You know, they had an offhand reference.
True. Yeah, what does he say? Like, I want to be home for Life Day or something.
Yeah, I think it was that initial bounty he gets in the first episode, right? He was talking about like, yeah. So that was a fun little Easter egg, you know, and one of our news stories this week is actually touching on, again, the further exploration of this concept in the new canon.
Is that your attempt, or very successful attempt, I should say, at a segue?
It is now, Mike. So that does it for Jedi Archives for the week. But let's talk a little more about Life Day, because listeners, viewers, if you're not aware, Life Day was initially conceptualized in the late 70s. It was after the release of the initial Star Wars, but before Empire. There was a televised holiday special, I believe on ABC, starring Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford.
The main crew.
Yeah, everybody was there. I'm assuming Peter Mayhew was as well, because it was a holiday special focusing on Chewbacca and his family on the home of Kashyyyk. I believe there was celebration, there were songs, there were toys. It's a cursed event. We have not seen it, so
I need to see it before I see what we're about to talk about.
Yeah. So it was announced over the weekend that there's going to be a new Star Wars holiday special releasing this year, but in the form of Lego, which I think is a great idea. I think if you're going to do this is the way to do it.
Definitely.
Let's get into a little bit of the details, though. So on November 17th of this year on Disney Plus, we're getting a 45-minute long holiday special. Now, why November 17th, you ask, Mike? I'll tell you. This is exactly to the date 42 years after the initial release of the original holiday special.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Same date.
That's really cool.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And we do have a brief description of what to expect from this holiday special. Rey and droid pal BB-8 head off on a quest to gain a deeper knowledge of the Force, but their visit to a mysterious Jedi temple sends them careening through time and space. Rey interacts with Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, and other characters in some of the franchise's most beloved moments, as they try to return in time for a Life Day feast with their friends on Chewie's Wookiee home world of Kashyyyk. So
I like how it has the tie back to the original Kashyyyk Life Day event.
Yeah. So my first question, if we're time hopping, do you think that Rey pops out in the initial 42 years ago Life Day celebration and recanonized that monstrosity?
I don't think Disney would do that.
No.
I think they would want to keep this one to themselves.
Yeah. I'm sure there's gonna be like a reference to that original one, you know, like some kind
It
of
already
joke.
It already is
Yeah,
in and of itself, like a reference.
Fair point. What do you
Especially
think of
if
this
they're going to Kashyyyk for Life Day.
Yeah. What do you think of the concept, though?
I think it's cool. I mean, I always enjoyed like the Lego Star Wars material.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch this. I wonder how long it's going to be.
45 minutes confirmed.
Oh, okay, that's good. I'm sure it'll be voiced, and I'm kind of interested because it's taking place after Episode 9.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing here, because again, we know from the video games, the comics, the books, expanded universe, this new era of Lucasfilm Disney are very strict, or not even strict, but like they're very focused on making sure all the new content is canon. So
yeah,
as silly as it sounds, this is going to be canon. This is going to be an event that happens after Rey buries the lightsabers in 9, you know? So I wonder... Oh, go ahead.
I think it will be like the only thing, right? I can't think of anything else that takes place post Episode 9. Like, this is probably going to be the only thing.
So far, I think you're right, yeah. There's no other confirmed material. But I have to wonder. We see that Rey's exploring more the mysteries of the Force, right? That's what starts this entire journey. I wonder then if the whole fan theory about the world between worlds and Ben Solo being stuck somewhere in between realities, if this is going to lean into that at all, if maybe she's going on this journey to find a way to resuscitate Ben. Do you think that is a possibility?
I mean, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
They've released images from this.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen them?
I saw the main one where it was Finn, Poe, Rey, and Rose.
Okay. There's like another one.
Okay.
Can I describe it?
Please do.
All right. So it's basically like Jedi versus Sith on like a desert sort of plain.
Okay.
With like some characters that, if you're thinking about post Episode 9, should be dead.
Okay.
Like Darth Maul.
Mm-hmm.
And like I can't think of anything else except for Darth Maul, but
Okay.
He should be dead. So it makes me wonder. Maybe you're right. Maybe they do some like world between worlds stuff.
Yeah, because if this is a journey through time and space, then anything's on the table for going back in time, So
Exactly.
I don't want to put too much stock out there, of like people hoping for too much. But like, do you think there's a world where they use this as a way for Rey to go back in time, stop Kylo Ren from turning, and then bring that version of Ben Solo pre-temple collapse into the future, be like, hey, I turn into your girlfriend eventually, just skip these few years, come with me into the future, and then we're gonna hang with the squad, your family's gonna be happy. Like, do you think that's a gateway to an eventual sequel trilogy where Ben Solo's alive again after there were all these retcon rumors and or not even rumors, just like pure speculation? Like, do you think any of that comes from this?
Well, first off, I sent you something. You should take a look at it. And second of all, I think that's actually really interesting because I think there is a lot that they can do with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you kind of joke about it, but I wouldn't put it past Disney to do something.
So
to be like, yeah, no, Darth Maul is alive or something like that.
So I guess my last question then, in terms of the canonization of this event, do you think like we get anything substantial out of this, or is this truly just going to be a feel-good thing? Because I'm not expecting any of the things I'm bringing up right now. I think as a host, it's a fun thing to talk about, but like,
no, I'm not really expecting much of this stuff that I'm talking about either. But I think mostly it's going to be just a fun thing.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be a holiday movie. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
Is it going to be without like some stuff that more involved fans will appreciate? Definitely. It's a Star Wars thing.
Mm-hmm.
Every Star Wars thing has those things. I think just given the fact that it is canon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it takes place after Episode 9, I think it will have some ramifications on the universe as a whole. I think either that or we'll get more insight into some character.
Yeah, but it could be cool. I'm curious. I don't think they've announced a voice cast. It would be cool if they got some of them back, if it's just 45 minutes worth of story, and who knows who has what screen time in this Lego version, but most of these actors are at home right now. Like, it's like, hey, can you just record some dialogue? That'd be fun, because it's not like you can get Daisy Ridley and John Boyega back on set for a live action holiday special, but if they'd be down to go in their closet and record some VO, why not?
I mean, I think that would be pretty good. I'm not sure if they've announced.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see what comes of that. And it's funny that we started talking about the post 9 content, because we are going to get to that a little deeper in the later part of this episode.
I should say, actually, because I was looking for the answer to that question, or that thing that you brought up. In this USA Today article, they say that this person, this source of theirs, teases a few Star Wars movie actors will be reprising their roles.
I bet Mark Hamill's in this. He's a big voice actor.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Plus, they did say that one of the fun, like, little set pieces is that we're going to see a post-9, like, experienced Rey interacting with more of a novice Luke Skywalker back in time. So, like, having that dynamic of, like, hey, you eventually teach me. I'm seeing you when you were struggling like I was, like, kind of all over the place, a mess. Like, I think that's a fun dynamic to explore, and that's really all I kind of want out of this. I just want it to be fun.
Same. I think it will be.
Yeah. So.
I just wanted to add that.
Yeah. Thank you for that. We do have a small news update. We're doing a Star Wars book club, right? We just read Alphabet Squadron. We're currently on the road to reading and reviewing Vader Volume 1 by Charles Soule. So if you're interested in following along on that, that'll be reviewed next week. But this week, we found out that the third book in the Alphabet Squadron trilogy is going to be called Victory's Price. The cover has been released. Same author, but it is featuring Will Lark, the A-Wing pilot of Alphabet Squadron, on the cover. So that's all.
And he's rocking it. He's rocking a sick beard.
Yeah, dude. I love the covers for this trilogy. I've like all three of them. I love how they look.
No, they look really cool. I like how each of them, like, they kind of like pick out one of the characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a nice balance to give each one like a highlight, you know, because that was one of our issues, I think, when we talked about the book of like, yeah, it would be nice if we got a little more in depth, but after seeing the second book and now the third book highlighting a specific character on the cover, maybe that's giving insight into who gets more of the focus for the novel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to read the next one.
Oh yeah, me too. I liked Alphabet Squadron a lot. I've thought about it a handful of times since we reviewed it. So
it's plaguing the mind.
Yeah. But that's all there is to update there. You know, we got time for this one. There's a feel-good story out there right now.
Yeah.
George.
Or like Ellen.
Yeah.
Or like the last minute of like 60 minutes.
Sure.
You know how newscasts, like, I don't know, I'm about to go on a little bit of a tangent.
Go for
newscasts, like, for 55 minutes it's all like doom and gloom, and like the last 5 minutes like a feel good story.
Yeah.
That's this story.
So George Lucas, the maker himself, we know his opinion now on The Mandalorian. We know he visited set, so clearly he was like excited to be there, but now we know his opinion on the show and the finale. Because an interview with Dave Filoni came out, and they were asking him about his relationship with Lucas and how it's changed, evolved since the new era. And Filoni answered, quote, "When I talk with him, I like to get more knowledge. He'll give me some reminders, especially before I shoot something, about how many setups I should try to get in a day, and I might rack his brain for certain things about how to cover a scene. He's been very complimentary. I think he's enjoyed the show, and he said once that now he gets to watch it as a fan and watch it as a viewer. My job is to bring that knowledge forward and pass on what I've learned from him in every discipline to John and his creative departments." So, Lucas likes Mando.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that he likes it.
Yeah, it really leans in aesthetically, I think, to what Lucas set up with A New Hope, you know, especially the reliance on the desert and like the nature side of the galaxy. Lots of forests and landscapes. So I'm sure on that angle he likes it. He probably likes the tone of it too. So it's cool to see him enjoying the new stories.
I'm sure he loves the technology too.
Oh yeah, I bet he's all over that. Mm-hmm.
He must get a kick out of that.
Yeah, I saw another quote too, which is worth tying in here. Favreau basically said that season 3 of Mando will not be affected by COVID because of the way the sets work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They can keep like less people on, I guess.
Yeah, and just less travel. You're going to a soundstage and they have that 360 screen. It's wherever you need to be. Like you need to be a forest, now the screen's a forest. You need to be Tatooine, now it's Tatooine. Like that allows for less travel in general, but then for the cast and crew, like I'm assuming there's less of a crew in that space than there would be on location. And then for the cast, it's like whatever regulations still have to be going on, rapid testing constantly, like a lot of the productions that are going on right now are doing, but seems like we should be on track for season 3.
That's good news.
Yeah.
I'm excited that season 2 is like coming out when like that wasn't it.
Yeah,
I kind of need that.
Same, yeah. We're pretty close to it too. Like we don't know when in October, I don't think, but we're halfway through August right now.
Dude, yeah. When are they gonna come out with like a trailer? Like, what's going on?
So I think Celebration was supposed to be sometime in August originally. So I could see it hit at the end of August, beginning of September, because September is also when a bunch of these new Lego sets drop. Like the Razor Crest set is out in September, so maybe for some brand synergy, because they still haven't really shown much of the Lego Star Wars game either. So like,
yeah,
I think that's also out in October.
That comes out. Is it October? I thought it came out in November. You might be right. I'm not sure.
It's one of those two, but I feel like the Star Wars marketing has to kick in soon, because like even Squadrons we've only seen a couple times, so.
Right. Yeah. They gotta really kick it in high gear there.
I'm sure they will. But speaking of kicking it into a different gear, Mike, let's talk Star Wars Rebels.
All right, let's do it.
So we have been watching Star Wars Rebels earlier this year.
At a very slow pace.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Earlier this year, we did our Clone Wars watch-along, which, again, wonderful experience, acclaimed show. And we've done season 1 of of Rebels so far. We are working on season 2 currently. Originally, we were going to do a review of the whole episode, or the whole season today. However, 1, we haven't had enough time, and 2, I think there's a discussion to be had about Rebels in relation to Clone Wars in terms of a viewing schedule.
I agree. I don't know exactly what you mean by viewing schedule.
So,
but I mean, I think it's less digestible.
Sure. Like, I'm about a little over halfway through season 2 right now, but I think because of the way Rebels is structured, where it's less focused on arcs, like there are episodes that connect to each other, there's a through line to the whole season, but it's less about format wise how Clone Wars was like, okay, this battle, this storyline, this week in the time span of this war, next arc, 2-3 episodes, same sort of deal, what this week was like on this front, and on and on and on. Rebels is more of like, hey, what job are we doing this week? And then at the end of the episode, what's the moral that builds into the rest of this continuing story about Ezra and the crew? And I think it's still good. Like, I think there's still merit to telling a story that way. I think, however, doing a in-review style schedule or more regular viewing, similar to how we did Clone Wars, doesn't work the same. And we knew that going in because we reformatted it, but I still think now the format isn't quite the optimal experience.
I don't think it is either. I think it's a harder show to watch, like we were watching the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So we've come to the decision to kind of slow it down.
Yeah.
How that looks, I'm not exactly sure.
Mm-hmm.
What if you have any ideas, Christian?
So yeah, I think honestly what it might be is just maybe recurring segment of like less of a big focus that we've been doing so far for the books and the season reviews or season review we've done so far, and more of a like maybe a check-in once in a while. It's like, hey, next week, any standouts from the episodes you were able to watch of Rebels this week, just so there's less pressure on it, because I feel like it's hindering my enjoyment of this show because, again, of the way that it's formatted, you know? Like,
yeah, it almost feels like homework in a way.
Yeah.
And that's not how we want to.
Yeah, and like I don't think that's fair to the show either, because I do think it's a good show. I just think it doesn't lend itself well to binging, you know?
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think like it may be worth at some points to like talk about like some of the really big moments of that show, because I've seen it before, and like there are moments that are like really, really massive. Really, really massive. So maybe we can incorporate some discussion that way. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like, I think in the planning between episodes, we could probably just text each other and be like, hey, I saw this episode, this thing happened, you want to talk about this during the episode this week? Because from what I've seen so far, like the progression with Ahsoka, continuing to like check in with her again after season 1 teed her up at the end, and you know, obviously a significant chunk of her life has passed since we left off with her in season 7.
Yeah, she looks so different too. It's
is really interesting and fascinating, and I know where we're going with her, I think, for this season in terms of like the big moment, because that was everywhere when that happened. I think that's the season. But yeah, like in terms of the follow-up side to Clone Wars, I've still enjoyed checking in with her. And she's still one of my favorite characters to come out of this series, you know? And if anything, 2020 is the year of me falling in love with this character and her arc. So, I think Rebels is doing a good job with that, and that's a good, like, point for me to continue watching and coming back to, you know? I still like the crew. I still like their dynamics with each other.
I gotta say one... Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say something about Ezra, but if you're gonna say something, go for it.
I was gonna say, man, like this show kind of makes me upset sometimes, because I feel like the endings to every episode is the same. Like they finish their, you know, there's not much conflict. Many at the time, like between the characters for a longer period of time. Like they just kind of like get sent on a mission, and then like they like almost fail and like almost die, and then like find a way out of it, and that's the end of the episode. And then like repeat.
Yeah. And again, I think that's why it doesn't lend itself well to binging, because there's been weeks since that first season review where I just like I watched maybe like 1 or 2 every other night, and it's like that's fine. I'm fine doing that, you know, checking in with this crew, seeing some Star Wars adventures. But like when we did the Clone Wars thing, I would usually sit down for like 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours, and just like get through an arc. So I think as a viewing experience, it's definitely different, and I prefer the storytelling of Clone Wars. But that's not to say I don't think Rebels is good. I still think it is good, and I still think it's like another pillar of new Star Wars, and I respect what it's doing. I just think it's a completely different experience, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I may just have not as fond opinions. That's not to say that I don't like enjoy it sometimes. I just like a lot of the times I think I'm not like super.
What was that? You cut out for a sec.
Oh, a lot of the times I'm not like super into it, to be honest. I mean, I just like, I don't know. I'm picking up new things every time I'm watching it now. Like, so I enjoy it in that way. And like, I also enjoy a handful of the stories, but it's no Clone Wars, man.
Yeah, it's not. And like personally, I think that's fine. You know, like Clone Wars did its thing. This is something else. And from what it seems,
yeah, I don't mean to be negative here.
Oh no, I don't think you're being negative. I just think it's a preference. You know, like because even me, like similar to what you said when we did our reviews, even when we talked about episode 9, and you're like, if it's a Star Wars movie, I'm still going to have an okay time watching a Star Wars movie, even if I don't like it necessarily. So
Fair.
I think that's where I'm at with the animated stuff. Granted, I haven't seen Resistance, so that could change, but like,
Yeah.
this is fine. Like, I view it fully as like Star Wars filler, kind of, with some nice nuggets about Ahsoka and occasionally some stuff with Ezra. Like, it's like if you only ate French fries, right? Like, it's still okay. Like, you're still enjoying yourself. It's like, oh man, I love French fries, but like, maybe they're like Ore-Ida French fries, right? Like, they're frozen French fries. It's not like you're going to get some Elite Five Guys or Wendy's French fries.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Or yeah, what? Elite French fries? You mean the McDonald's French fries, bro?
They're fine.
Are you serious?
They're fine, dude. Like,
wait, you don't like the McDonald's French fries?
half the time they're cold. They get cold very fast.
So what's your preference?
Probably Wendy's. In terms of like the drive-through ones, it's Wendy's, I think. And then honestly, you want some hot takes right now? I think the Burger King fries are underrated.
I like the Burger King fries.
Oh, okay. I'll take that. I always get hate for that. I was like, yeah, Burger King fries, honestly, give me those. Clone Wars is Burger King fries.
I'm a Burger King apologist.
All right, okay. But where did you leave off? I know you're a little more behind where I am, but is there anything notable that stood out to you in your continuing viewing of season 2?
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm like 6 episodes into it.
Mm-hmm.
From what I can recall, like, I really like the episodes with like Rex.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the tactical droid, like they have to, I don't know, I just like that stuff. That's cool.
So it's funny you say that too, because like you originally watched this show without season 7, so like how is that seeing Rex without the context of how he handles Order 66?
Interesting. Like I don't know how some of it doesn't ever explain exactly what happened. So it's not necessarily like breaking some sort of continuum.
Mm-hmm.
However, it doesn't explain really how the other clones got their inhibitor chips out.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So I wonder if maybe Bad Batch deals with that a little bit, because you and I speculated a bit when the announcement happened of like, okay, maybe the Bad Batch, since they've been mutated, maybe they don't have inhibitor chips, or maybe the mutation counteracts them because the inhibitor chip is designed for specifically the genome of the clones. So maybe sometime in the Bad Batch series we dive into that explanation. But yeah, I'm with you. I like the Rex stuff too. Like, again, it might just be my Clone Wars bias, but like anything that feels like or deals with characters from that show, I greatly enjoy, you know? And I still think there is merit, again, to Ezra and Kanan and Hera's and the group's story. Like, I still like these characters. It's just, it's a different experience for me.
I did make one observation. Like, you know how they, like, that one clone, like, goes crazy when they see Kanan and Ezra? Rex doesn't go crazy, so it makes me wonder, like, did they get their inhibitor chips taken out?
Good point. I didn't pick up on that.
Like, maybe they did.
That could be cool if that's
like,
the answer.
Rex didn't like go crazy, so that explains that, right? And we already know, confirmed. So, like, I don't know, man. Just a thought.
Well, I guess final question before we move on to our big topic. Do you think, I think we know the answer to this, but do you think the Bad Batch series is more in line with the like serialized or arc type storytelling from Clone Wars than Rebels is like mission of the week.
I kind of hope it's more arc-like.
Yeah. I think that's probably the intent, you know, if you're picking up with those characters from like a direct follow-up to that show and then all the positive reception of season 7, like I think that's probably the direction they'll go.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, speaking of going new directions, though, our main topic, Mike, you brought this up to me, and the second I read that text, I was like, we have to do this.
I think it's a good topic.
Yeah, so we're gonna try doing this a couple times in the coming weeks of just like a what if topic, you know, just diving in. We tried this before. We did like the whole like what should they explore multiple timelines, but you brought to the table the topic: what do we want from the sequel trilogy? The inevitable continuum of the Skywalker saga, the episode 10, 11, 12. What do we want? What do we expect?
I think the first question is it inevitable?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, like I think it's gonna happen eventually because these movies will never stop. You know, it's like it's just like Marvel. It's like the MCU. Like as a Marvel fan, I came to this I came to terms with this. They're gonna be making MCU movies far after I am dead. Like,
yeah.
Like, that's something you accept. And I think as a Star Wars fan, especially in the new era, it's like, okay, Star Wars movies will continue way after Gen Z's gone. Like that's going to be a thing that keeps on going.
I just kind of hope that, like, they take different directions with that. I don't want them to stop. I'm not saying they should stop making Star Wars movies, but, like, I don't want to see a 10, 11, 12. Like, figure out something else.
Would you be okay with it if we took a decade off, did like a different trilogy, did this Rian Johnson trilogy, did some solo TV shows, did a couple other spin-offs, and then eventually came back to 10? No?
Nope. I don't care. Because what is it going to be? Like, what is it going to be? It's going to be some, like, contrived plot that doesn't make any sense. I assume.
See,
about you know, these characters that like are kind of lame in comparison to some other characters.
So go with me on this. I think there's a lot of potential with a 10, 11, 12 because I think that people love making comparisons, right, to the sequel trilogy as being HD remakes of the original trilogy, right? Just like the same themes, the same story beats, same character archetypes. Like, people like making that comparison a lot, whether or not you agree with it. I think they have a good opportunity now, in the year 2020, to follow up this trilogy the way Lucas originally pitched following up 4, 5, 6, right? And telling maybe the initial... I know I'm saying a lot of numbers. The initial, what would have been 7, 8, 9 for Han, Luke, and Leia, but with the analogs of Rafe and Poe.
Yeah, but like, would that work though?
I think it would if you brought in someone like George Lucas to do the story and then fill in that story they tell with what his original idea was. You know, we talked about that a little bit, like his outline of shrinking down to the mini blood cell cities that live in the forest, like all that weird stuff. Like, I think there's potential to explore whatever was originally the intent of Luke Skywalker's post episode 6 adventures, but with Rey. Now, I think there's more interesting stories you could tell in there. There's things I'd want to see that aren't necessarily like just filling in, again, an analog for the original sequel trilogy plans, but I think these characters, at least the trio, they're well known enough at this point that 10 years from now, the people that were introduced to Star Wars through these films, fans like us who enjoy some aspects of the sequel trilogy, or people who enjoy all of them, one of them, two of them, like, will be nostalgic enough in a while that seeing them return, I think, would have some effect the way that we get excited when like it's like, oh, Hayden Christensen might be in the Kenobi series. Like, I think there's gonna eventually be a time where that iron is hot enough to strike, and you can do it in an interesting way with some time away from the whole Palpatine mess.
I mean, I guess you make a good point, Christian.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I guess I'm coming from the point of like the present me is saying I don't want to see that. Maybe it is. I'm just burned.
Yeah.
Right. Like maybe I'm feeling a little hurt from what they did to us. What they did to us. I'm kidding. But the reality is that time period is ripe with cool ideas and adventures.
Yeah.
And that mouse loves making money, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to find a way to exploit it somehow. So I only have one real thing that I want to see. I don't really care what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But if they bring back the original, I shouldn't even say original. If they bring back like Rey, Finn, Poe, they got to make my boy Finn a Jedi.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going off this whole thing under the assumption that Episode 10 picks up with Finn on a mission as a Jedi already.
Yeah, they have to. If they don't do it, I'm out.
Yeah, no.
I'll stop being a Star Wars fan.
No, Mike. Here's the thing. I'm thinking that I know that some of these actors are tired right now. Like John Boyega's been wild and he's having a great time. You know, he's like, I'm done for now, or maybe forever. Oscar Isaac probably doesn't want to come back. Daisy Ridley, I'm sure we know she's been traumatized by this fandom, but like, I
feel bad for her.
Oh, me too, man. But like, we saw it happen, I think, with every single generation of like, hey, I'm tired of this, but eventually they come back, right? Like Harrison Ford came back, you know, like even Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, they were tired. They came back.
I think if anybody's going to come back, it would be John Boyega.
Yeah, that'd be dope. So I do think if 10 happens, again, this new trilogy, I think it is like, maybe not a full-blown Jedi Council again, but I do think we have like, Rey is the Master, Finn is a Knight, you know, and maybe we have like a Jedi Knights of the Round Table type deal. Like maybe not a full-blown council or an army of Jedi, but we have like a decent number, maybe, you know, and like, I think there's some interesting stuff you can do there. I think that is an era and a concept that hasn't really been explored much. Like we have the grand scale of the prequels, we have the remnants of the original trilogy, and I think the sequels even still kind of feel like they're dealing with remnants, you know? Like we never really have a full triumphant, like the Jedi are back moment.
Yeah, well, I think if the Jedi were to come back, that'd probably be bad, right?
Yeah, and then I think, again, you can probably pull on the seeds of 8 and talk about how Rey created a new thing. It's like, okay, yes, Jedi in name, but we believe that not everything is black and white. Like, there are certain situations, you know?
Yeah.
But I think having, like, an operating council of Jedi existing in a new world like that is a really exciting idea. And I have a fondness, like, I still like Rey and Finn and that whole group enough that I'd love to see them come into their own in, like, a later stage of their life. Like, 30s and 40s, being, like, their prime as Jedi, like, that could be really exciting.
I don't think they had time to, like, develop as characters.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to watch them do that. I kind of want to see, if they do go Jedi Council route, I want to see Ghost Luke and Ghost Yoda on the Jedi Council.
That'd be cool.
That's what I want to see.
That'd be cool. But yeah, I do think there's potential, you know, and here's the thing that I really wanted, because I was always under the assumption that 7, 8, 9 was going to be, again, the first trilogy, and then we get a sequel trilogy about the redemption of Ben. Like, my whole idea was that I thought what was going to happen was we get 7, 8, 9, maybe by the end Kylo is turned or dies, and then or like they team up and then realize there needs to be a new order because this new threat appears. So I think 10, 11, 12, we have to deal with a new threat. No Sith, no remnants of an Empire or First Order, nothing with red lightsabers. I think you do something new, like an alien invasion in Star Wars. I think that's a cool concept.
They did that. They did that in Legends. That was the Yuzang Vong.
Okay, I did not know that.
Like an extragalactic alien race that comes and basically like just messes everybody up.
Yeah, because how interesting is that of a concept for Star Wars? Like having this new foreign presence come in that's intimidating and terrifying, nobody has any answers to. You get a new mystery there, you get a new threat, and you deal with this new form of the Jedi in a familiar way because you tie it to the sequel trilogy. And then it's this new that everybody wants, you know? And I feel like you get redemption almost for the people who didn't like 8 or 9, you know?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if it makes it, if it, you know, if there's more Star Wars because of it, then that's kind of a win.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, there are some things that I want to see, like I think it would be cool if they're gonna do it. I think they should probably get like Rey, Finn, and Poe.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't make my boy Finn a Jedi, then I'm leaving.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely gonna be one.
He has to be.
What color lightsaber do you want him to have?
Honestly, I feel like he's blue.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was gonna say like get weird with it, you know, pull from some more like Fallen Order colors, maybe get like magenta or something, or like an orange. But
no, I think he's blue, dude. I gotta say, I do think he's blue energy, and I also think it would look good because Rey, we know, has a yellow lightsaber.
That's true. That's a good point. But
that's my favorite lightsaber color.
Yeah, yellow's hot. Final question for you.
Yep.
In 10, 11, 12, do you want Ben Solo back as a corporeal form?
Oh, like a Robo-Ben?
No, like a person. Like in the flesh. You can touch him.
I was gonna say like, or what if he's like a cyborg? If he's like part machine, part human.
That would be great if there was part human left.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot he disappeared.
Yeah.
Star Wars, man. I honestly I don't want to see Ben Solo at all.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe as a Force ghost, it's fine. But like you said, I kind of just want to see like something new.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to see Kylo Ren or Ben Solo in the flesh.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice if we do deal with like a new order. Maybe he is a ghost or something like the other ghosts we've seen. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential still with these characters and still exploring new. And I do think it's inevitable, personally.
It's only a matter of time. I think it's like a decade away at least.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying, too. I think it's like 10 years from now.
It's really far away.
Yeah. Well, until then, Mike, where can the people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at Mike P. Connors.
Very nice. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris N. Buckley, and you can find both of us in the flesh on youtube.com/joyclicks, where there are a variety of other shows. And Mike, here's a challenge.
Okay.
This podcast does very well on the audio format, you know, Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
Sure.
We do numbers, right? We respect it, we love it, we appreciate it. The YouTube channel,
we're basically ballers.
Yeah, essentially. The YouTube channel, Joyclicks, youtube.com/joyclicks, where this podcast is hosted in video form, is very close to 2,000 subs. So listeners,
that's huge.
Yeah, listeners, if you want to be involved, if you don't want to go to Patreon, you can just go to youtube.com/joyclicks. You could sub. We're like 150 away.
That's what I call #join the movement.
Yeah. Rise up.
So dumb.
Yeah.
But seriously though.
Yeah. And again, all the support for the show is appreciated greatly. We love y'all. And yeah, that's gonna do it for this week. So Next week, again, reviewing Vader Volume 1 by Charles Soule. Look forward to that. But until then, we're fine. Everything's fine. How are you?
May the Force be with you.
Now let me figure out how to end this.
Oh, it's so much easier on my end.
I know. Hold on. We're still rolling. I'm trying to get the outro to go again. Why is this not working? Hold on.
Hello
There
there.
we go.
Oh my God, Christian, we were screaming,
This is
we were
where the fun
streaming on
begins.
YouTube the whole
General
time.
Kenobi.